Have you ever truly sat with the idea of forever? Not as a romantic promise or a religious hope, but as a literal, mathematical reality. We often talk about the curse of death. We call it an enemy, a thief, a shadow that haunts our every achievement. We pour billions into longevity, into Silicon Valley biohacking, and into the desperate hope that we might be the first generation to outrun the clock. We treat mortality as a bug in the human system, a technical error that needs to be patched. But if we look closer, past the immediate fear of the void, we find a strange paradox. Deep down, we do not actually want to live forever. We just don't want to die today. There is a profound difference between the desire for immortality and the desperate, clutching fear of losing what we have built. Think about the life you have constructed. Think about the thousands of days of toil, the sweat, the specific hard-earned wisdom that only comes from failure and recovery. You have spent decades refining your tastes, your relationships, and your very identity. You have gathered memories like rare, fragile coins. You have learned how to love a specific person in a specific way. You have learned how to navigate your own mind. You have built a library of you. The horror of mortality is not necessarily the concept of non-existence. It is the giving up of the hoard. It is the idea that this vast, complex masterpiece of a life, everything you have worked so hard to achieve, will simply be deleted. We feel like we are just getting started, just finally learning the rules of the game, and then the lights begin to dim. We don't want to be gods. We just want to be curators. We want to keep the house we have built. We want to see how the story ends, but we don't want the book to close. However, we must ask ourselves a dangerous question: what happens to the soul when the horizon is removed? Meaning requires a border. A painting is beautiful because it is contained within a frame. Without the frame, it is just paint on a wall that goes on forever. Without the frame, the composition disappears. The intentionality vanishes. If you have an infinite number of Tuesdays, what does it matter if you spend this one in a state of total apathy? When time is limitless, the value of a single moment evaporates. Scarcity is the secret architect of all human value. We cherish a sunset because it lasts 20 minutes. We cherish the bloom of a flower because we know it will wilt. We love our children with a piercing intensity because we know they will grow up and eventually we will leave them. In a world of forever, now becomes an empty concept. If you can always do it tomorrow, then today has no weight. Mortality is the only thing that gives us a reason to act. It is the wind at our backs, pushing us to speak the truth, to take the risk, and to hold the hand of the person we love before the opportunity is gone. If we lived forever, we would eventually become every version of ourselves. You would be the saint, then the sinner, then the scholar, then the fool. You would exhaust every hobby, every conversation, and every possible combination of thought. The philosopher Bernard Williams called this the boredom of the gods. Eventually, the immortal mind would slip into a catatonic state of indifference. We are biological machines designed for the chase, for the struggle against entropy. When entropy is defeated, the machine has no purpose. You would stop being a person and become a ghost of possibilities, haunted by the fact that nothing you do is final. Without finality, there is no consequence. And without consequence, there is no meaning. Now look at society. If we look at the collective level, immortality becomes a nightmare of stagnation. Our world is built on the succession of generations. The beauty of the human story is that it is a relay race. One generation brings its fire, its new ideas, and its radical energy to the stage. They push the boundaries of what is possible. And then they move on. They make room. Max Planck, the great physicist, noted that science advances one funeral at a time. New ideas take root because the old guard, with their rigid ways of thinking and their entrenched power, eventually exit the stage. Imagine a world where the same CEOs, the same politicians, and the same cultural icons remained for 1,000 years. There would be no room for the young to rise, no room for a new voice to be heard. The world would be a frozen hierarchy, a planet of statues trapped in their own histories. Immortality would breed a profound, paralyzing conservatism. Why take a risk on a new social order or a radical technology if you have an infinite lifespan to lose? The immortal would be the most fearful creature in existence, terrified of any change that might threaten their endless, boring stability. So we return to the core of this series, the idea of clarity under constraint. Those who face their own death, the figures like Paul Kalanithi or Audre Lorde, reach a level of exactness that we should envy. They stop being potential people and start being real people. The deadline of a terminal diagnosis acts as a centrifuge. It spins away the trivial. It spins away the office politics, the petty grievances, and the fake smiles. It leaves only the essential truth of who they are. When you have all the time in the world, you can afford to be fake. You can afford to waste your spirit on things that do not matter. But when the future collapses, you are forced into a devastatingly sharp focus. You become more you. We must realize that death is not a bug. It is the primary feature of our humanity. It is the very thing that makes us capable of love. To love something is to acknowledge its fragility. You cannot truly love something that is indestructible. We love because we know that we are holding something that can break. We love because we are survivors of a brief moment in time. The resistance you feel toward dying, that clutching feeling in your chest when you think about losing your memories and your achievements, is not a flaw. It is the proof that your life was worth living. That resistance is the highest compliment you can pay to existence. It means you have built something worth keeping. It means you have found beauty in the toil. But the final act of a meaningful life is the willingness to let it go. To understand that the story is better because it ends. To recognize that we are part of a larger, grander movement of life that requires us to step aside so that others can experience the same rupture of birth and the same sharp focus of living. The meaning of life is not found by making the book infinite. The meaning is found in the fact that the pages are turning. Don't seek to outrun the clock. Don't seek to hoard your experiences in a vault of forever. Instead, seek to live so exactly, so authentically, and so intensely that when the end comes, you don't feel like you are being robbed. You feel like a traveler who has reached the end of a long, exhausting, and beautiful journey. You feel like a painter who has placed the final stroke on the canvas. The goal is not to live forever. The goal is to create something and to become someone that was worth the time you were given. In the face of mortality, we find our truth. We find that we were never meant to be gods. We were meant to be brief, brilliant flashes of light in the dark, and that is enough. That has always been enough.